Good afternoon. How are you? Well, we've had rain already today. I don't know if we're going to have any more, but the temperature is 78 right now, according to Thomas Jefferson. Humidity is 71, so you can see there's an indication we could get some more rain. And the wind is not much of one. It's a calm 2.9 miles an hour. Holly and I went out today and visited some friends on the art tour that is going on in Loudoun County today. And the wards left an imprint in the sense that I bought this charming leaf, which is imprinted by a leaf, and the colors are magnificent. I'll attach it. So, on the news, the unnatural place to be when we're talking about our government these days. Okay, consider this possibility. Elon Musk might fund Democratic candidates against Republican candidates. Okay, now, shouldn't he be able to do that? Years ago, he was a Democrat. And one story is that he changed parties because when techies were invited to the White House, he was not among the guest list. And that's when he became active with the Republicans. I don't know if it's true, but it's been repeated often enough. There may be something to it. Trump's reaction to this is, if he does, he'll have to pay the consequences for that. The bully. There's a big difference between the bully pulpit and the bully, between directing a nation to follow a line of course that's positive and affirmative and either necessary for the defense of the country or to advance it in those areas where it may excel for its people and its nation and for the world itself. But Trump repeated very serious consequences. That's the way he thinks. And then Trump said that Musk was disrespectful to the office of the president. Well, to the office of the president, I don't know how that's possible when a guy like Trump is sitting in the office of the president and has this huge frame sitting behind the Resolute desk, when he's irresolute on behalf of the things that are the constitutional oath that he took. So actually, Trump is disrespectful, for he disregards the Constitution, the statutes, the law, the history of this nation, the needs of the people. But we could go on. Among the difficulties in our current system, we have a Supreme Court that should be wiser and cohesive and help us move forward. Because they realize they are the court of last resort for issues that come before that we as the people of the nation must live. Now, there's an Associate Justice of the court, Ketanji Brown Jackson. And she is an amazing jurist. And she was a law clerk to one of my favorite Associate Justices, Breyer. And Breyer had a very strong belief that the court had to serve the trust of the people by following the age-old manner of how the law advances. Not exactly common law, but we've had statutes and so forth since. The distinction being, if case A was decided in a certain way, the next case that comes along that parallels that, you should go forward or make a distinction why it's changed. Now, Napoleon had ideas like codes, statutory codes, would be better than figuring out the law that way. But you have to interpret the codes, and we do that as well. So, why am I mentioning Jackson? She said the court is sending a troubling message. Breyer was of the view that the message shouldn't be troubling. And she, Justice Jackson, replaced Breyer on the court when he retired from the court. And what is the big aspect of her advice to the public as a member of the court? And it is that the court is departing from legal standards, whether it be common law, precedent, statutory construction. The notion of stare decisis. Case has been decided. like an abortion case for 50 years, you must change that, amend that very carefully, because it's of long standing, and the trust of the nation is based on the fact that its significance and its application persists. But she says the Supreme Court, last place to stop for the law, is undercutting lower courts. It's showing preferential treatment for the government. It's disregarding well-reasoned cases. Now, there are several examples, but one that you can point to is allowing access to the data of millions. Where does that come from? What law justifies that? And the court fans the flames where it could extinguish them. So the court is failing its role. And it's interesting, the will and strength, mentally, as a lawyer, and in contravention of other members of the court, to say these things that are needed to be said and to be followed. Because what's going on in the lower courts must be reflected in the higher court if, as a matter of law, the lower courts are right and well-reasoned. And right now, that is not happening. So, there's another overall problem with the courts and with our land. And it is that we are dealing with a government that doesn't believe we're all equal, doesn't believe it has an obligation to take care of the poor. In fact, we're in a nation right now that is at war with the poor in a way I don't think I've seen my entire lifetime, even in the worst periods of our nation, when they looked for ways to get around it. That is, taking care of our people, the standard of civilization. The Constitution provides that we should be promoting the general welfare. Well, let's promote the general welfare. And that includes the poor. So I'll give you a few examples. Since Trump has been in office, what have we had? We've noticed that the poor are punished for the privilege of the wealthy few. Rural grants, development grants, gone. Food banks, gone in places. Enviro protection, gone. Planned Parenthood, defunded. Homelessness, criminalized. Health care for the poor, marginalized. The Department of Education, headed by a woman that doesn't even know the names of things. And she is the Secretary of Education, and they're gutting the Department of Education. Important for the loans for people who are our future leaders and doctors and engineers. Well, so we have billions for mental health and addiction lost. We have tariff wars that are really attacks on the people, and the poor are least able to sustain the cost of these increases. And they'll have to make judgments between medicine and food and rent and education, a car, you name it. We are faced most popularly in terms of the list of things that the poor are suffering: Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, SNAP, food for children, all at risk. You can't believe a word they say. So how could you justify being upset with Musk if he thinks we should run people against members of Congress, the Senate, who are not representing the people, who have a war on the poor and on law and on everything else that defines what it means to be in America? So Trump doesn't want to promote the general welfare. He wants to reduce citizens to subjects and transfer those benefits that are going to the poor to the rich with reduced taxes and with other benefits they prefer. In other words, Trump wants to be the dictator who doesn't have to worry about resistance from the people in America, because he's so compromised their existence that he has put at risk the existential nature of our country over these too few years since this democracy was created in 1776. So, those are a few of my observations on this wonderful day. If you're in Loudoun County, you might go out and see what some of these artists are doing today. So I say goodbye to you from my cathedral of trees until tomorrow, in between rain, no doubt. Bye-bye.